Hello everyone. If you missed out on the Black Friday weekend sale, then don't worry. I've still got some delicious discounts for you. For the rest of this week, I'm offering more amazing deals on my English learning resources that will again make you do a double take. Look twice because you're so shocked. So head over to thebritishenglishpodcast.com to check them out and grab your discount before they're gone.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the British English Podcast. I'm Charlie, your host, and today I'd like to introduce you to a couple of British comedy geniuses, in my opinion. But instead of just telling you about them, I thought we'd have some fun and try to recreate their style of humour whilst exposing you to a bunch of cultural references and a load of British English along the way. So let me introduce you to the two men I am referring to. They are called David Mitchell and Robert Webb. I would say they're most famous for the TV show called Peep Show, which is a sitcom. And just so we're on the same page, the word sitcom is short for situational comedy. It's a genre of television comedy centred on a consistent setting or scenario, often involving the same group of characters in the same location. So like a home, a workplace, or a neighbourhood. The humour typically comes from the characters' interactions and the everyday situations that they find themselves in, often with a light-hearted or comedic spin. A classic sitcom is like Friends or The Office, which feature ongoing storylines that let viewers see how characters grow over time while still providing a humorous, episodic plot that's easy to jump into at any point. Defining that made me want to clarify the difference between that and some other shows, or particularly a soap, because looking at that definition, it was somewhat similar. So what is a soap? If you've never heard of a soap before, we have a lot of these TV shows in the UK. For example, EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale. These have been going on for years and years and years, and they're very, very popular. A staple genre of TV show in the UK, a soap. I don't particularly enjoy them. I did watch EastEnders for a short stint when I was younger. Oh, but here's an insight into how pretentious my parents were. And this highlights the class-based system a bit. My sisters and I were highly encouraged to not watch soaps when we were younger by our parents because they thought we would end up sounding working class. That is mental for me to look back on the judgmental attitude that they inflicted on us. But there we go. So what is the difference between a sitcom and a soap? Well, a soap is focusing primarily on creating suspense and drama and have these ongoing plots that people really invest in, whereas sitcoms are more in it for the lols. Don't copy me by saying lols. That's very lazy and just cringe. Say they're in it for the laughter primarily, or the light-hearted entertainment. And the stories are more contained within each episode. You do have some prolonged relationships, but as I said, you can drop in and out and still enjoy the sitcoms more so than a soap. But I still don't feel satisfied with why they are actually called soaps. So I'm going to learn a little bit more. 1 second. Oh my God, fascinating. So the full name is a soap opera, which I did know, but I kind of forgot because everyone just says soap. And the reason it's a soap is crazy. In the US, during the early days of radio and television, shows were sponsored by soap and detergent companies, especially brands like Procter & Gamble and Colgate-Palmolive. These companies advertised heavily during these programs to target their primary audience, who were housewives and stay-at-home individuals. The sponsorships were so prominent that soap became synonymous with the genre. Mind blown. Amazing. I love that. And the word opera refers to the dramatic and often exaggerated nature of the storylines. But please don't expect them to be musical like a traditional opera. The name highlights the heightened melodramatic situations and emotions that these shows portrayed. Nothing to do with actual opera. So yeah, the combination of soap, sponsorship and dramatic storytelling led to the genre being dubbed a soap opera, and the name has stuck ever since. Goodness me, mental, absolutely mental for me. I mean, if you have just heard this TV show label for the first time today, it's probably not that mental for you, but mad for me at least, to learn the reasoning behind a word that I've never really understood why it's called that. Anyway, back to David Mitchell and Robert Webb. So their famous sitcom Peep Show was one of the first point-of-view based shows where the camera takes on the angle of what one of the actors sees in first person. So it's really close up and helps highlight subtle facial expressions, which British people love. We secretly, or not so secretly, really are proud of not needing to high-five each other to give positive feedback, for example. We really like the subtleties. We're a modest nation, right? And they also really brought to life the internal dialogue comedy where they voice what the character is thinking, and then you get to see what they actually do or say. And this is, again, a really nice insight into our culture being indirect, because you get to see how different our thoughts are to what we actually say. Obviously, bear in mind they are fictional comedy characters, so they are exaggerations of the average Brit. But I'd say it was incredibly well received, Peep Show, because of how relatable the scripting and characters were. Those who are fans of the show often identify with one of the two main characters more so than the other. So I would identify more with Mark, and Harry. I hope you know Harry quite well. Being a listener of this show, Harry would identify more with Jez. So yeah, I think it's well worth a watch, but they've done a lot more work than that, and they did an audio show on BBC Radio 4 called That Mitchell and Webb Sound, which is what I'm here to focus on in today's episode. But they also turned that audio show into a TV show called That Mitchell and Webb Look on BBC 2. Because they found success with it. So the show, what it was basically a load of sketch comedy, taking everyday situations and making them absurd. If you don't know what a sketch is, it's just a bit. It's a segment that is not related to the next segment. So they have all of these little bits and they put them all together to make a show or an episode. But yeah, all of those bits are disconnected from one another. But yeah, the absurdity was definitely a major part of this show, often poking fun at British culture in a very, very clever way, again, in my opinion. And I was reminded of them the other day because I was flying to Edinburgh for a stag do and wanted to have some entertainment whilst on the plane. And I went back through my audiobooks I've downloaded over the years, and this audio show caught my eye. So I listened back and I was that weirdo on the plane, laughing out loud on my own. And I thought, I've got to share their genius with you. So obviously, feel free to search That Mitchell and Webb Sound for a good audio show. But they do speak pretty fast and their vocab is pretty advanced. So I wanted to challenge myself to give you a taster of it with some more accessible content. So let me do my worst at trying to create some absurd skits and takes on everyday British life for you. Hello again. Just a quick note, if you missed your opportunity to grab my Black Friday weekend discount, then I've got great news. There are still some fantastic follow-up deals available this week that you don't want to miss. These offers include big savings on my most popular subscriptions, courses and resources, but they're only here until the end of this week. So if you fancy giving your English studies a proper boost and taking them to the next level, head over to thebritishenglishpodcast.com and see what's in store for you.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Now, I've done 4 skits for you, each revolving around a very well-known British cultural reference. And yeah, the aim is to be absurd, basically. So here's the first one. I don't think I want to introduce them. I'll talk about them a bit after having played them. So yeah, enjoy skit number 1. Good afternoon, Twinings Tea Customer Care. This is Clive speaking. How may I assist you today?
Hello there. I hope you can help me with a bit of a conundrum.
I'll certainly do my best, sir. What seems to be the issue?
Well, you see, I've been a loyal Twinings drinker for years. I can't start my day without a cup of English breakfast. But today I accidentally purchased Earl Grey, and I'm not entirely sure how to proceed.
I understand, sir. Are you concerned about the difference in flavour?
It's not just that. I mean, is it appropriate for someone who's not an Earl to drink Earl Grey? I wouldn't want to commit such a faux pas.
Rest assured, sir, Earl Grey is enjoyed by people from all walks of life. The name honours Charles Grey, a former British Prime Minister, but it's available for everyone to enjoy.
That's a relief. But there's more. On the box, it mentions bergamot flavour, and I did a bit of research, and it turns out bergamot is a type of citrus fruit. And I'm allergic to oranges. I wonder, will I swell up like a balloon if I drink it?
I appreciate your concern. While bergamot is indeed a citrus fruit, it's quite different from oranges. However, if you have a citrus allergy, I would advise consulting with a medical professional before trying it.
Good advice. Yes, good advice, Clive. Oh, that's another thing to do today. All before my cup of tea. Now, one last thing. The instructions say to steep the tea for 3 minutes. What happens if I do it for 4? Will I unlock some sort of advanced tea level?
While you won't unlock any secret levels, steeping the tea for longer might result in a stronger flavour. It's all about personal preference.
Fascinating. Tea truly is an art form, is it not?
Indeed, sir. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Actually, yes. I've always wondered, what's the difference between afternoon tea and high tea? Because I've been inviting friends over for tea for years, and I fear I might have been misleading them all this time.
Excellent question. Afternoon tea is a light meal typically eaten between 3:30 and 5 p.m, consisting of finger sandwiches, scones and pastries. High tea, on the other hand, is more of a substantial evening meal, often including meats and heavier dishes. The names can admittedly be a bit misleading.
Oh dear boy. No wonder my guests leave hungry. I've been serving cucumber sandwiches at 6 p.m. What will they think of me?
It happens to the best of us, sir.
Well, I've got to say you've been immensely helpful, Clive. Thank you for enlightening me on the intricacies of tea.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Thompson. Thank you for choosing Twinings. If you have any more questions, don't hesitate to call.
Will do. Have a splendid day now.
You too, sir. Goodbye. There we go. So it was about calling the customer support of Twinings, the tea company. And I guess the absurdity lies in the fact that it's hard to imagine what type of calls this tea company are actually receiving. Like, whoever rings that phone number. And then I tried to throw in a couple of absurd reasons why someone was calling. All right, let's go straight on to the second skit, which I will again explain more about after. So just try to follow along and imagine what the attempted absurdity might be.
Why don't we invite Watson over for dinner?
Watson? Oh, splendid idea. A charming dinner guest. Polite, interesting, and doesn't drone on with personal tales like some sort of human audiobook. Yeah, exactly. And think of the stories, cases, near-death experiences. Absolutely. And if something goes wrong, like when you famously undercooked the chicken again, he's a doctor. He could perform an emergency tracheotomy with nothing but a butter knife and a firm grasp on hygiene. Yeah. And you just know he'd bring wine. You know, not flashy, not trying too hard, but the sort of bottle that says, I appreciate you without overwhelming your budget. Salt of the earth, Watson. Precisely. No drama, no showboating. He's like the human equivalent of a dependable pair of socks. Wait a second.
What?
Sherlock.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, Sherlock bloody Holmes.
And even if we don't invite him, he'll know. I mean, Sherlock's the type to crash our dinner based on the direction the wind blew an empty crisp packet 3 days ago, for goodness sake.
Exactly. He'll turn up unannounced, smelling of pipe smoke, and suddenly our evening's derailed by his brilliant insights.
Oh, of course. Picture it. We're passing the salmon mousse around and Sherlock barges in. Ah, salmon. I deduced it from the faint fishy odour drifting from your second floor windowsill. Elementary.
Yeah, and then when we're trying to enjoy our normal evening, he's in the corner dusting the pepper grinder for fingerprints.
Yes. We'll be chatting about our holidays and he'll interject, saying, the angle of your sunburn suggests you spent more time complaining about the heat than actually enjoying yourself.
Yeah, and worse, he'll start offering unsolicited advice on how we could have done it better.
Oh, no doubt. And then he'll go and refuse the wine and say, alcohol, please, I prefer my brain unclouded by substances that commoners consume.
Right, and by dessert, he'll have solved the mystery of why our souffle collapsed. Probably traced it back to when you sneezed in the batter. I bet he'd say, oh, how predictable.
Oh, and meanwhile, bless him, Watson will be sitting there saying, so sorry, he does this everywhere we go. So maybe we just don't tell Watson where we live.
Yeah, let's meet him in a pub. Sherlock's less likely to interrupt there.
Brilliant. Keep Sherlock out of it. Problem solved.
Okay. Now, if you haven't cottoned on yet, this one was thinking about what famous characters might actually be a really annoying dinner guest. And the way Mitchell and Webb do this is by complimenting the sidekick or other main character about being a delightful guest to a dinner party. And then halfway through thinking about inviting them, they would remember that if this person is invited, they will likely bring the not so desirable other person. Like if you invited Robin from Batman and Robin, Batman would come, right? He'd come to anything that Robin goes to. And then it would be weird that this Batman always wears a cape to dinner and a mask and would probably smash through your roof instead of using the front door, etc. Again, absurd. Right, let's move on to the second to last skit. So have a listen and I will summarise it afterwards.
Good afternoon, Marks & Spencer Customer Services. How may I assist you today? Ah, yes. Hello there. I bought a pair of trousers from you last week and, well, they seem to be a bit haunted. Haunted, you say? Righto. What exactly seems to be the issues with the trousers, sir? Well, I mean, they keep making these strange noises. Sort of whispering, really. Very unsettling when you're on the bus, you know? Whispering trousers, yeah. All right, sir, let's go through the checklist. Have you, by any chance, recently upset a Victorian ghost? I don't think so. I mean, I did cut in line at the post office yesterday, but that's hardly grounds for supernatural revenge, is it? I wouldn't think so, sir, but these Victorian ghosts can be awfully petty. Right, and did the whispering start immediately after you bought the trousers, or was there a delay? Oh, there was a slight delay, yes, about 2 wears in. They were fine at first. Lovely fit, by the way. But then they started whispering things like, let's hope you don't treat people like your father treated his wives. Which is weird because I never actually knew my father. Yeah, that is unsettling. Now, are these from a regular fit or a slim fit range?
Oh, regular, I think.
Ah, I see. The slim fit tends to be more quietly judgmental. Right. Yeah, sir, I'm afraid it sounds like you've got yourself a pair of our Haunted Heritage range. It's actually quite rare. They usually only whisper about the great stink of London, but it seems you've got a bit of a collector's item of one of the wives of Henry VIII.
Well, that's all very well, but I'm not really interested in the heritage, haunted or otherwise. I just want to wear them without being psychologically undermined by my own trousers, really.
Yeah, of course, sir. Well, what I can do is offer you an exchange for a non-haunted pair, or if you'd like, we do have a line of possessed pashminas, perfect for a special occasion where you might want your scarf to argue with your in-laws.
No. Just a non-haunted pair, please. Preferably one that doesn't have opinions on my personal life.
Certainly, sir. I'll arrange a return for the haunted trousers. Just pop them in a box, seal it well, because ghosts can be a bit wriggly, and drop them off at your nearest store. We'll sort it from there.
Right. Do I need to include a note?
Only if they start writing one for you, sir. Anything else I can help you with today?
No, that will be all, thank you.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you for choosing Marks and Spencer's, where our clothes are usually silent. Have a lovely day. Haunted trousers. At least it's not the screaming socks again.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. With the price of just about everything going up during inflation, we thought we'd bring our prices down. So to help us, we brought in a reverse auctioneer, which is apparently a thing.
Mint Mobile Unlimited Premium Wireless. How to get 30, 30, bit to get 30, bit to get 20, 20, 20, bit to get 20, 20, bit to get 15, 15, 15, 15, just $15 a month? Sold!
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes per detail.
So this time, someone was calling the customer service line at Marks and Spencer's, which, if you've never heard of this company before, is also known as M&S. It's a British retailer loved by many boomers, I'd say. The people from the generation after the Second World War are known as boomers because the population boomed. And yeah, anyone in that age bracket really love M&S. It's known for its high quality food, clothing and home goods. I'd say today the general public see it as a place for posh, expensive food or a good place to get your parents some clothes. But typically, to my knowledge, the trousers are generally not haunted. So again, the absurd humour is actually in the way that the bored employee is not fazed by anything. So customer support, we typically joke about it being a bit of a boring job. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But they're playing with the fact that this person is so bored that even something like haunted trousers does not faze this customer support representative. All right, time for the last one today. Here we go. Good morning, British Airways Customer Services. How may I assist you today? Hello, yes, I've just boarded one of your planes and there seems to have been some kind of mistake. I think I've been upgraded. Oh, congratulations, sir. Upgrades are always lovely surprises, aren't they? Well, yes, I suppose, but this isn't quite the upgrade I had in mind. You see, I'm in the cockpit right now. I beg your pardon, sir? Did you say the cockpit? Yes, I'm here with the pilot. He seems very nice, by the way, but he keeps asking me about my experience with instrument landing systems, and I'm afraid I haven't got the faintest clue. You're in the actual cockpit? How on earth did that happen? Well, I boarded as usual, gave my ticket to the lovely stewardess, and then she directed me up front. I assumed it was some sort of executive upgrade, but Now I've got a set of headphones on and there's a chap with 4 stripes on his shoulder asking if I'm ready for takeoff. Right. Sir, this is highly irregular. Did anyone mention why you were being brought into the cockpit? Not particularly, no. I mean, I thought it was some new level of customer service, very, very immersive. I even got to press a button, though I suspect I shouldn't have now. Could you please let the pilot know, politely of course, that you're not actually supposed to be there? Oh, I did mention it, but he just gave me the thumbs up and said, good to have another set of eyes on the horizon. I'm afraid I'm rather committed to this now. I'm going to need you to calmly and carefully make your way back to the passenger cabin. Please tell the pilot you're not qualified for this kind of upgrade. You sure? I don't want to be rude to him. He is the pilot after all. And he's been awfully friendly, even offered me a boiled sweet. I assure you, sir, the pilot will understand. It's far more important that you're seated in the passenger area, not in the cockpit. We, how can I put this? We like our upgrades to be a bit less high stakes. Right, I'll give it a go. Excuse me, Captain. I think there's been a bit of a mix-up. No, I don't want to handle the throttle. Yeah, I'll just head back to the passenger cabin now. Right, I'm in the cabin now. A bit embarrassing, really. I think I'll just stay in economy from now on. Probably for the best, sir. Thank you for your cooperation and thank you for flying with British Airways, where upgrades are usually a bit more conventional. Have a pleasant flight. Cockpit upgrades. I suppose next it will be premium co-pilot class. And that was the last one for today. Pretty straightforward. It was a customer complaining about their upgrade on a British Airways flight being a little more than they had expected. Again, the absurdity is in the class-based upgrades. Like, think of what is even more of an upgrade than first class. Well, what's ahead of that class? It's the cockpit, right? But there we go. I appreciate that not everyone has an absurd sense of humour, but I do encourage you to give that Mitchell and Webb sound a go, or search that Mitchell and Webb look on YouTube. And then, of course, if you haven't tried Peep Show, you've just got to. I mean, I'm jealous that you've got, I think, almost 9 seasons of comedy gold ready and waiting for you to tap into. Peep Show is different. It's not about the absurd humour like I've tried to example today. It's more like dry, dark, and it's a bit cringy, awkward, but mainly, dry and dark and situational humour. All right, that is all for today. If you were interested in getting manually edited transcripts with extended glossaries tailored just for you as a non-native British English learner, made by British English teachers, along with flashcards, then be sure to explore the premium podcast membership. And if you're looking for a complete learning method that takes you from not even understanding it to then confidently using the British English you hear in these episodes, then check out the Academy. Simply follow the links in the show notes or visit thebritishenglishpodcast.com for more. You've been listening to me, Charlie, the host of the British English Podcast. Thank you very much for staying with me to the end. I'd personally like to recommend that you keep a spoon in your shoe for good luck, and please promise me not to talk to any pigeons wearing a top hat. Hello and wave next week's Today. I'm trying to end based on the theme of the... you get it, right? You get it, yes. Okay, bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the end of that episode. Now, I know some of you may have missed out on my Black Friday weekend sale, but the good news is that I still have some fantastic deals running until the end of this week. These discounts are designed to really help you reach your English learning goals, and they're going to make you question if I've lost the plot yet again due to the ridiculous savings you could be making. So don't let this second chance pass you by. Head over to thebritishenglishpodcast.com or click the link in the description to grab your discount before it's too late. You've got until the end of this week, so make it count.